Hey everybody, it's Casey Jacox with the Quarterback DadCast, and this next episode, believe it or not, I had to go through like 4 or 5 agents. There's an NIL deal involved, but we finally got him. He's one of my buddies from the late 1980s, the pride of Meeker Junior High. We both proved that limited participation basketball players can once make it in life. We're proof of that. He spent nearly 20 plus years at our friends over at KJR Radio, but now he's the host of pucksports.com, and I couldn't be more proud of what he's doing. He's been a familiar voice for us Seattle folks, but I'm hoping that once this episode goes live, we're going to learn more about Jason Puckett, the dad, and how he's working hard to become that ultimate quarterback or leader of his household. So without further ado, Mr. Jason Puckett, the host of Puck Sports, welcome to the Quarterback DadCast.
Jacox, what's up, buddy? God, it's been too long. I'm going to tell you, those limited participation games, I think it's still lore of past. I would always say to myself going into it, I'm not going to do anything other than shoot the ball because this is it. This is the only time we're going to play. It's going up every single time I touch it. I'm not going to pass the ball. I'm not going to play defense. I'm getting shots up.
True story. This one, I don't know if you remember this. I remember I'm 48 years old. This is still 30 something years ago. I think it was like a minute something left. I don't know who we're playing, but it was just delay. And I'm like 15 feet above the 3-point line and like pretend like I'm calling a play and I'm hearing freaking Eric Anderson, rest in peace, yelling at me. I'm like, I don't hear you, coach. I'm just waving people off, calling them off.
Yeah.
And I let one fly and I bank it in at the buzzer.
Yeah. That's perfect. What else? What was the punishment? Not going to play?
Right.
That was already not playing anyway. So who cares? Whatever.
Oh God.
The only thing I remember about that is that I always had to wear, even though I was a guard, I had to wear like a high number. It was always like 55 because those were the bigger jerseys. God, no one plays shooting guard and wears 55. Nobody does that. But because it was the sizes, because the higher the number, the bigger the size.
Well, my son in 8th grade wore 53.
Do they still do them that way?
I don't know. I think he just got screwed and just like, I'm like, hey,
who wants 53?
He didn't. And he did not. He let us have it too. But I'm like, sorry, dude.
Yeah.
I don't have other option, bro. You can wear no shirt and then get ejected for not having the clothes.
Yeah, do that. Has your kid ever got ejected from anything?
Almost by me in a I-9 flag football game for celebrating and doing the Victor Cruz in the end zone. And I had to teach him about not just hand the ball to the ref, bud.
What Victor Cruz is the salsa dance, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I mean, come on. How old was he?
This is like 7 or 8. It was really good, but I had to like.
You had to nip it in the bud.
Yeah, we can't do that.
My son just got ejected from a baseball game. 10 years old.
Lou Piniella?
This kid, he's playing, and we're in that your kids play baseball like the majors division, like the high level, right? The kids that go to like the Little League World Series, that age, right? So we're facing like a 12-year-old, and this kid is just gassing it. I mean, just bam. I mean, it's coming in hot and heavy. And so the first couple of innings, he's striking most kids out, but it's a close game. When we get in the third inning, he's starting to tire. So he's throwing the ball all over the place.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so it's Randy Johnson. It's coming over the head. It's hitting the backstop. And it's like, kids are a little freaked out. So my son's sitting in there. And he's got 3 of them come at his head. Okay, and where he's brushing him back and he's falling down. Now, my son kind of has a little bit of a temper. And like the third one, or the second one, he glares at him. The third one, he's like, I think he's going to charge the mound. I'm pretty good, but because I know him and I know he thinks, because he watches a lot of baseball, and he thinks he's throwing at him on purpose. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, he's 12. He has no idea what he's doing. He's not throwing at you on purpose. So anyways, the fourth one comes in, dots him in the ribs.
Oh, boy.
And so he falls to the ground, throws his bat. And I'm like, oh my God, I think we're going to see the first charging of the mound. He starts walking the first baseline, and he flips off the pitcher. But this is the best part. He doesn't really flip him off. He uses the ring finger to do it. Oh, the
trick one. Tricky.
The trick. And so the umpire kind of sees it, but doesn't see it. But then there's some parents saw it, and the coaches saw it. They're like, oh, he flipped him off. And then I kind of saw it, but I knew what he did. I'm like, oh, God, he's going to get ejected. And so anyway, long story, I'll wrap it up. But he gets out, but they don't kick him out. But he says he's out on sportsmanlike conduct. And I'm like, okay, actually, that's a win.
Yeah.
Because I'm coaching. So I really should have pulled him from the game at that point. But we ended up, benching him for a couple innings. But as we're going back to the dugout, he's arguing with me and crying that I didn't do it. I swear I didn't do it. I didn't flip him off. I'm like, buddy, I saw you do it. Like it was obvious to everyone. And there's like 3 cameras up there because we can't have a Little League game, Casey, without Game Changer.
Right. Oh yeah.
Can't have it. And
there could be scouts watching.
Scouts are watching. Yes. I'm going to post YouTube clips up of Johnny's swing at 10. We're going to send it in for everyone. And so we're arguing back and forth in the dugout. He and I. The umpire thinks he's arguing with him.
Oh, Jesus.
And tosses him from the dugout. And so then I come out, I'm like, hey, whoa, wait a minute. And I'm like 20 feet apart. I'm like, hey, he's arguing with me. He's not arguing with you. You've already called him out. Like, we're good, but you can't now eject him for that. He can argue with me all he wants. And then he goes to the umpire, and he's a good kid. He's like 19. He's really good, actually. He goes, one more word out of you, and you're out of here. And then all the parents like, oh, and I'm like, and then I can start seeing this from a couple of the opposing parents. They start pulling out their cameras.
Oh God.
And I'm like, no, I'm not going to become that guy. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm going to go sit down over here on the bucket, and I won't say a word the rest of the game.
Well, I love it. This is in season 5, 240 50 something episodes. This is our first Little League ejection story, so that's a win.
I don't think Ballard Little League is where we play, and we're celebrating 70 years of Little League. I've done some research, and I think I'm pretty sure that he's the first and only kid to be ejected from a game. So
he'll tell that story when he takes over Puck Sports in 30 years.
Yeah. Proud dad moment. What would you have done? I should have pulled him. I should have kicked him out myself is what I should have done.
I don't know. I think you did the right thing. You talked to him. I had a story where me and my buddy Steve, his son showed up late one day and had some issues. I remember I'm in the dugout, probably your kid's age. I'm like, Steve, I think he's learned his lesson. We could use him in the 4th inning, buddy. Let's go.
Hey, Steve, we really need to win this game. Lesson learned. Let's get him in.
A chance of getting to Tacoma, the PCL. This is my chance. Don't ruin it for me.
Yeah. What happens to us when we're coaching this stuff? It's supposed to be fun, and 98% of the time, 99 it is. But God, there's that 1% where
we all have it in us.
It's getting late, and I'm like, hey, I know everyone's got to play, but we're the starting 9's out there right now. We got 3 outs to go.
That's the best part about like when the kids even get. How old are your kids?
14 and 10.
Okay, so like I'm in the middle of like AAU craziness and Ryder. My son's off to play golf in college in the small little division of NAIA school called Southern Oregon.
Awesome.
In the fall. So anyway, I'm way off track.
Well, hold on though. Your son is already going to college,
dude. I know. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm getting old, bro.
Old? You started young, is what you did.
I did. Well, you'll get the senior discount with the child discount when you have.
That's true. That's pretty much accurate. And so but your son is playing. How's the AAU stuff?
It's fun. It's fun.
It's good because you hear horror stories about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is everywhere, but like I think the same point too. We've knock on wood. It's been fun. We've had some ups and downs, but it's all life experience and. I've enjoyed. I love women's hoops. I mean, my daughter plays hoops, and she's a way better basketball player than I ever was. I don't know how or where she gets it. Sure, it wasn't from Carrie, but it's a blast, and yeah, I wouldn't. It's just going by way too fast.
Yeah,
way too.
And so
fast.
She's having a blast playing. How many? And that's just all the time, right?
Yep. And so they got high school sports, high school hoops. So that's open gym just started today for the first time, and then we have. She has then it was like, I think it goes right into AAU. They'll be in Chicago this weekend.
Wait a minute. She's in 8th grade?
No, she's a sophomore.
And they're going to Chicago?
Oh, dude, she's been to Virginia, Chicago, multiple trips to California this summer. Yeah, it's no joke. Just wait.
Dude, how do you afford this? You're going to be working for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I just stand out front and ask people they need me to wash their cars. And
yeah. Oh, man. But she's loving it. She's having a ball.
Eats, drinks, loves hoop more than anything. It's the best. That's her boyfriend, I say.
It's good.
So she's always busy, just asks for it, she works her ass off and it's fun.
That's really good. Probably gets a lot of your work ethic.
I hope so. I mean, I grinded, for those that know my story, I grinded every ounce of athletic ability to get the Division II level, but had a blast. But anyway, brother, this is about you. We always start each episode with gratitude. So tell me, what are you most grateful for as a dad today?
Ooh, most great. That I've got good, funny kids that have good personalities. I would say. I think they have such a combination of me, a lot of combo of me and my wife, but like I really love the little things that they both have that are me. And so when I see it, and then if I like correct any of it, if they do something wrong but then I pull myself back and I go, I did exactly that. I acted just like that. I need to just remember like their age and where they're at. But I just enjoy they have big personalities and that they not wallflowers and that there's nothing wrong with being a wallflower, being quiet or anything like that. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying that it's just fun to see how outgoing they are.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're just great kids. I mean, they have their moments like every kid has their moments, like I did, like you did, like everybody listening, watching all that. But
Yeah.
they're a blast. And I focus on more of like the good things they take away from me rather than the bad things. I hope they don't dip into the bad things that I did, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's a journey, man. It's I just feel like whenever I'm not my best version of me, or I quickly try to fix it, like own it, not like in the moment, but like maybe let it die down and realize, hey, Dad was an absolute tool right there, and let's walk through it. So it's like I feel like I can teach the ability to apologize, or teach the ability to like, hey, no one's ever going to be right 100% of the time, and far from it. And because you're right, we did dumb stuff too. I remember our good friend Chuck, Chucky Lewandowski. I remember thinking it'd be a good idea to like bang a racquetball as hard as I can and like drill into the neighbor's antenna, and it thing got bent just around.
Yeah.
And then instead of like dealing with it, we both sprint inside and hide. It's like that was
that's what you do. That's what you do. You break things and get it in trouble left and right. I don't feel now. I mean, maybe it's happening and I'm just not seeing it. I don't feel these kids get in as much trouble as like, and maybe I'm a bad example, as like maybe what I did or what you did or what others did. Like, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's, technology or, they just got other things that kind of occupy their time a little bit more, but I don't know. At their age, especially my daughter's age, I found myself just doing stupid stuff. And I'm kind of glad that she doesn't do that, but
we
yeah.
keep them busy. We keep them busy.
For sure.
I think that's, you nailed it. I'd say, man, what I'm grateful for today is May 13th, if I can read. I have glasses now. May 13th, and tomorrow, Ryder, my son, is having his last district high school tournament. If his team, the Mighty Toma Bears, if they do well, they'll go on to state his senior year, which will be just it's a fun journey. And being a golf parent's hard because there's not a lot you can do other than just watch. And when he plays great, it's fun. But he plays struggles like we all struggle in golf. It's like a paper cut that just won't stop bleeding. And you just like, you can't talk to him. You can't like give him a hug. You can't go caddy. You can't help him. He's got to learn.
It's, I would assume, when did he start playing?
His game changed during COVID when he kind of got shut down in hoops. And then we played a shit ton of golf.
Yeah, but when's like when did he first pick up a golf club to start playing? 2.
Yeah.
Oh, so he'd always had an interest in playing.
Yes. But not competitive.
Not competitive. See, I had a very, you'll like appreciate this as a golf dad and a golf fan, a real golf moment. So we recently in our backyard, because here in Seattle, I don't know if you know this, like you can't water your lawn in Seattle. Because if you do, it's $1 million and you go broke. So everybody's getting rid of their lawn. Anyways, I did a synthetic turf. I did a turf in our backyard and I put a 4-hole or 3-hole putting green.
Love it.
Because I need to putt and I love golf.
Night putting.
So we put it out there and this kid is out there all the time putting. And he's shown a little, like I've taken him a first tee and stuff like that, and he'd been okay with it. And no, I don't like it. It's fine. I'm like, I'm not going to push it on you, but I want him to play golf because I want to grow up like father, son, go play golf trips and all that kind of stuff would be fun. But he's been out there all the time, putting left and right. And it was finally about 2 weeks ago. We're home alone. It's like a Friday night. He's like, hey, you think we go to the driving range? I mean, I think I started to tear up. I couldn't get the keys fast enough to the car.
Yeah.
Go, we could go. Let's go. And I mean, we went there. I didn't even hit a ball. I said, you just go hit a bucket. just going to sit back and watch. Didn't say a word, nothing. All I said was just, yeah, you just hit as far as you want. And then I just resisted. Hey, get that elbow, tuck that elbow in a little bit. Can you move your feet? Don't do that. But because I know once you start doing that right, then it's over.
Yep.
He's not going to like it. So I was like, I want to make sure that he likes it and make sure that, once it wrapped up, hey, let's get a hot dog. Let's get some ice cream, have some fun. But yeah, I'm envious of that because that's got to be a blast to watch because it's such a fun sport. And it's a fun sport to share it with like a daughter or a son. And you're right. I would imagine watching that is just nerve wracking. I get so nervous watching my son pitch. And then I coach, and I hate because you're out there on your own, and it's just you, and everyone's watching you, and that's miserable. My daughter does gymnastics, and so when they do it, it's all individual, especially when she does the beam, and they're up on that beam. It's I don't know, 4 inches, 5 inches apart. I don't think it's that big, 4 inches apart. They're doing all these flips, and it's you can't breathe for about a minute and a half. And
oh God,
I would imagine it's the same like that. A minute and a half is. In golf, like 4 hours of it.
I talk to God a lot in those 4 hours.
Can you caddy for? You can't caddy for him?
No, I did caddy for him recently in a really cool high school event. That's kind of tough to get into, but my friends down at Sumner High School, they Ryder has buddies he's met from there, and their coach is a great dude. And he got us. Remember Mark Shampoo?
Yeah,
former quarterback DadCast listener. He's Ryder's high school coach. Great dude.
Wow.
And so Shampoo helped get us in, and unfortunately, all of our boys did not make the cut. The cut was 76. So, there's some freaking sticks. Some of the best players in the state go to this thing. So, but yeah, he struggled. He hit the ball great, but he probably had one of his worst putting days he's had in his life. And I'm on the bag, just trying to be the Ted Lasso of Skagit Valley,
So what do you say? Do you say anything? Cause now it's do you go in dad mode or what do you go and do?
Do you want me to try to get the Amazon Slayer clubs? I mean, what do you want me to do? No, I just say, I'm like, hey dude, you haven't seen this course. All you can do is, he goes, Dad, I've lost feel. I'm like, there's nothing I'm going to say now. All we can do is be your best. Your best might not be the best, which is fine. Let's just make it fun. I'm big into mindset and body language. That's the one thing. If you want to see this dad loses shit, it's when I body language, whether either you see it good or bad. I said, your competitor should never know. It's kind of like the Gary Payton Stockton story with why he had him announce him for the Hall of Fame.
You remind me of it. What is it?
So Stockton, how I heard it was Gary Payton had John Stockton announce him to the Hall of Fame because Payton said Stockton was the only guy that he could talk shit to, and he never would never respond to him.
No, that's you know what? That's a great message because that's something I try to tell our baseball team all the time. Because you'll get kids that including my kid and others that will get frustrated and get all mad. I'm like, the second they see that, they know they've got you.
Yep, exactly.
You can't allow them to let you see that. I mean, mumble under your breath and in your head and all that kind of stuff, but don't let them see it. And that's a hard lesson, man.
It is
because it's such every sport is so emotional.
Yeah, and golf is he didn't. You would have never known it. He shot whatever. We played this weekend. He shot 71, beat me by 4. I'm like, what the hell? But then 2 weeks ago, he shot 86 and wanted to quit the game. I mean, he didn't want to quit the game. He was super frustrated, but I'm like, what are you going to do? But now it took a lot of effort and consistent time because he'll shoot 85 and he'll shoot 70 or 73 or and so it's like, hey, it's a throwaway round. Just not going to worry about it. And
when did he beat you for the first time?
He beat me on Father's Day 2 years ago. On Father's Day. We're playing this course called Desert Air in Eastern Washington, and our superintendent, guy named Craig Benson, is where we play golf here at home, and he was over in Eastern Washington too, and we're playing, and now I birdie 17, he bogeys 8, he bogeys 17, so what 2 strokes swing, I tie him, we're going to 18. I'm like, we're tied, right? Now I'm chirping a little bit, which is the exact opposite of what I'm teaching him, but I want him to see if he can get focused. We both hit great drives. Now the wind picks up, and I think I'm good. I hit too far, bounce off the green, over the green, OB. He lays up with 9-iron to 150. I'm like, you little effer.
Yeah, smart move. I love it.
Smart move. And par's hole, I take 7, lose by 2. Best, proudest day of my life. But the worst moment too, because I was pissed. I freaking doubled.
You're pissed, but you never at any point ever thought when you were playing with him to ever kick a shot, let him beat you, let him win, any of that kind of stuff? Okay.
No, never. I wanted him because he would have known. And like, even like this past weekend, we were tied going into 16. He drives a par 4, just a crazy line. I'm like, what is he doing? Drives a par 4, puts it to 3 feet, makes eagle. I take 5. Three shot swing.
Good Lord. What is he? What's his carry?
He can hit it far. He's probably, I don't know. He probably hits it 310, 315. It's crazy, dude. And he's 6 foot, buck 70.
So what is he carrying? He's carrying what, 280?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus.
It's long and lanky and gets after it. And
that's
anyway,
beautiful.
So man, it's been forever. He's so good. I feel like we're right where we left off. For people, we've talked a little bit about each kid. Talk a little bit about each member of the squad, the Puckett family, and then maybe a little bit how you and your wife met.
So yeah, let's see. I got to do math, and I hate doing math. How long have I been married? 2007, 17 years. You want to know how I met her?
Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine, Darren Robb, who we were college buddies at Washington State. And then when we graduated, he had a job. I mean, this was years after he had a job. We were both I had moved back up to Seattle. I was working in Portland. I moved back up in Seattle about 2003. And we were hanging out, and I saw a picture of my wife Kaisa on his fridge that they were at some Christmas party. They worked together at a TV station. I just said, well, who's that? And he's like, it's my friend Kaisa. I was like, oh, I'd like to meet her. And then, I don't know, weeks, months passed. And then I was living in Fremont. He texts me or calls me and said, hey, I'm out in Fremont celebrating her birthday. I would just pop on down here. So it was the ball. If anyone remembers the ballroom in Fremont, it's different now. It's not there anymore. Well, it's there anymore, but it's a different bar. And so I just roll up there, and my kids aren't going to listen to this, so it doesn't really matter. She's out there by the fire pit, just, doing her thing. And she's just got a big heater in her mouth, and she's hitting it like she's just a biker gal. And I'm like, and I knew her I could recognize her right away with the picture. And I said, oh, that's my girl. I love a girl with a good dart in her mouth. just something about it. And then we just, started talking and hanging out. Nothing really that night, but I could tell there was a little bit of interest. And then it just kind of, went from there, and took her to a Sonics game, and just kind of the rest is history. Yeah. So that's how we met, and been together since. And married in 2007. Daughter was born in 2009, Maria. And then Owen was in 2013. He was born. So that's kind of the clan. Yeah.
You said Amaria and Owen?
Maria, Marja, and Owen. And then my wife's Kaisa, Kajsa, Norwegian/Swedish names. We tried to find, at least for her, the most confusing name for everyone. So every time that she's gone to any class, it's Marja.
What would be your Swedish, like if we had to translate Jason, what would that go into? Like,
I think it'd just be Jason.
Jason, maybe shake it up. Maybe add an X in there.
I would like that. That'd be great. U's. Yeah. We wanted, if Owen was going to be a girl, it was going to be Tova. Now that would have been really good. Tova, which I would have loved that one. But yeah. So now she just goes by Mari because she can't. No one can pronounce it. Even people. My mom still cannot pronounce my wife's name. It's always Kaisa, like with a Z. I'm like, there's an S. It's not hard. It's just
the Z is silent.
It's Kaisa. It's not hard. I mean, it's just not difficult for people. So,
I actually had my stepdad, Big Al. He actually would call. Remember Greer Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Greer's wife is Jana. He used to call her Jenna. I'm like, the E is silent. It's actually Jana. Jana. Same thing.
And I can't figure it out.
He used to call ibuprofen ibuprofen. He'd go to Quizninos. It's Quiznos. But just do your thing.
You know what? I think, Casey, when we reach a certain age, and I'm looking forward to it, you just don't give an F anymore.
You can drop an F-bomb. I could put an E by this thing. Yeah, you won't give a fuck.
Oh, so you can swear on this?
Yeah, go for it. Let them fly.
Yeah. Well, now it's open season. Yeah. I can't wait till you just don't give a fuck anymore about anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting there now, but I mean, I can't wait till like I'm 60 and 70. And it's like, you can say, I think there's at 70, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, my dad, rest in peace, Mike Jacox, he passed away in season 3. We dedicated an entire episode to him, entire season to him, every episode. And so to that point though, his his last 4 weeks on Earth, I'm in the assisted living facility with him. Me and Ryder went and saw him, and this larger Hispanic nurse, she was this wonderful lady. She walks in, and my dad, who is literally in and out of dementia, like we thought he was like going to be gone 2 weeks ago. Then he has his rally, and she walks in. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing, Big Mama? What are you, horny or something?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, Dad, you can't." And I was like, and Ryder, I've never seen him laugh harder in my entire life. He had to go to the other side of the room, and I'm like, "I'm so sorry." And he's like, "No, we love Mike." I'm like, "He can't say that." I'm like, "Dad," I'm like, "But he's 79, about to die." But like I laughed. I mean, what a great moment before he passed away. Like that story.
Yeah. That you should be. I love that. That is, if you're going to go out guns a-blazing like that.
That's next level. Just very aggressive. He might have been in heat when he passed away.
Your dad was a great guy.
Mikey had so many. I know you have probably memories, but he got
mom was. I loved your mom. I mean, just everything.
Jude's is now the pride of Tri-Cities over there.
Nice,
loving it.
Beautiful.
But
no rain. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I want to go back because I remember playing some outstanding street football, Nintendo, but I think I want to relive and educate myself here. So talk about the impact of your parents had on you, and what were some of the biggest lessons you took as a father now that you're a dad?
It's interesting. It's funny. I just had this conversation with my sister about this, and we were talking about like lessons we learned from our parents and all that. And this is there's not a ton I've taken away from my parents. My dad was so much older. Like when I was born, I think my dad was, I gotta do the math. He was like 48. And so my dad was so much older and such from a different generation, right? So he was from the generation of like, you don't show any emotion. You don't tell your kids that you love them. There's no emotional. I'm dad. You're the child. That's our relationship. We're not friends. We're not hanging out. But there was always like little things that he would do that I knew that he had cared. But I think the thing that I would take away from him was, one, just to be like, present, not in terms of like being like around like of our everyday life, but present in like the moments that counted. Because he would never, as much as like he wouldn't show like the emotion, like hugging and telling you love you, but like he would, every sporting event he was there. I remember I used to coach basketball in like senior year of high school. He would be the scorekeeper. Just little. So there's like little stuff like that you look back on and you go, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And he was there, even though you thought he wasn't there. He was I get a lot of my storytelling from him. He was an unbelievable storyteller. He would sit back, glass of scotch with his buddies. And it's just hours and hours and hours of telling great stories. We had a fishing cabin up in Canada. We'd go fishing, and it was just like me. I'm probably, 11, 12, 13. He's got his buddies up there, and it's just us out there, and just the jokes and the stories and all the off-colored jokes and just everything. It was like being in a fraternity before you were actually, in a fraternity. So that was awesome an experience. And then I think the greatest thing that he ever handed down, that I have handed down to my son myself, my father, William Puckett, rest in peace. He would get up from his chair in our house. He would walk by the bathroom to go outside. If you remember that our backyard. He'd go outside our backyard. He'd walk. We had a pool. He'd walk around the pool, and then behind the pool there was a garden. He'd walk all the way out there, and this every time to go pee, because the man loved to pee outside. I asked him. I said, "Why do you like to pee outside?" Because I just like the freeness of it. You don't got to hold anything. You just kind of wiggle around and shoot it everywhere. And my son, and I do it. I do it in the city, for God's sakes. I've got neighbors. I don't got the space like you guys got down there. I got people on top of me looking at me. I'll go outside at night, go in the bushes. My son does it. That's the first place he learned how to pee, was just outside. We were camping, and he does it all the time now, like all the time. And so I don't know. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but that's kind of a funny story from him. My mom, so you remember, sweet. My mom is about 5'1" and shrinking, old German lady. And just, the conversation still to this day. Oh, Jason, what do you do? I don't understand. This was 20 years on the radio. And I don't understand. What do you do? What channel are you on? It's, like early on, it was 9:50 a.m. on KJ. I'm on 9:50 a.m. I don't understand. How do you get that? Is that on the radio? Like, do you go to I look and I can't find. I'm like, my God, it's the same time and channel. And then when we went from AM to FM, it was just a lost cause. I'd be like, we're not on 950 anymore. We're on FM. I don't understand. You were on this one channel. Now I can't find you. And now you on this FM. Like, yeah, it's just a different radio signal. Now that I've taken on this new adventure of doing podcasts and YouTube and things like that, I don't understand. You can't go on the radio anymore and listen to you. No, it's on you can listen to me anytime. It's just on this different platform. Oh, I don't know. Friends are asking and I just give up. And still to this day, she lives by herself in Paulsbo. She has always been a pack rat of food. And again, she's about 5'1", weighs maybe 95 pounds. Okay. And has more food than Costco. You go over there, she's got 3 fridges in the garage that are, one freezer, 2 fridges that are stacked of everything. And you go over there, like when it ends, I'm going over to Paulsbo and I'm just going to live off her, the land. I think what I learned from her, Casey, is that it doesn't matter who you are. She just treated everybody kindly and was just so nice to everyone. And I got away with so much crap as a kid. And every time she's like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not mad. I got suspended from school. I think you were probably in the right, but she just was the sweetest mom. It is still the sweetest mom. And I have never to this day met anyone nicer than her. So I think kindness, I try to be kind as much as I can because of her.
Remind me what your pops did.
He was a CPA. He was an accountant forever. And that was kind of the main job. So he would do that mainly on the side, but then he started it's called Vision Quest. It was a vision optical business, like made eye lenses and stuff.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. And then did that forever, eventually sold the company, and then once he sold it, was basically done kind of working like 55 probably, but then did like accounting on the side, like during tax season would do everyone's, tax work. And, another thing, he was just so good with money and finances and just like, he's got 4 kids. I mean, our kids, he had 4 grandkids that he put through college. It's just remarkable. And so I think like, planning and budgeting and finances, he was so good at that. But yeah, accounting and then fishing and Scotch drinking and golfing. He showed me how to play golf. He was a great golfer.
You know what I used to think I love Scotch, and I realized I just like the word Scotch. I love whiskey.
You don't like it. Yeah.
I don't. And
no one likes it.
My friend did the best meme at my expense. I took a drink of Scotch in Nashville with we went to like a freaking, I don't know where we were, but I had this looked like a face I'm going to vomit. And she wrote, I just like the word Scotch.
Yeah, it's true. You feel like you should like it.
Yeah.
I like and whiskey. Then until you have it. Yeah. Whiskey, bourbon, all that kind of stuff. But there's just something about it.
Scotch is really, it's going to burn the nostrils really in a, not a good way. Like
no, would say. And he liked it. I used to love, this was always my favorite part. So he'd have different time. So don't judge. He'd have 3 or 4 of these a night before dinner. Okay. And I mean 4 finger pours with a splash of water. And he wouldn't even drink the good stuff. And the best part, he'd use, because you got to conserve the glass. He would rinse it out a little bit, and then he would pour for dinner. He always had a glass of milk for dinner. Then he'd pour the milk in there.
Oh, nice.
Okay, still has a little bit of that Scotch in him. And my dad, he was in shape. He ate like a rabbit. He didn't eat a lot of meat. He ate a lot of vegetables, like a ton, salads, vegetables, and he ate healthy, really healthy. He smoked, and that was kind of his downfall. He would smoke cigarettes a lot, but then smoked a pipe forever. Eventually, but it was lung cancer why he passed away. But he ate great. He was 65 or 70, and he got gout. Oh. And he couldn't figure out why he got gout. He's like, because you get gout by either A, poor diet or drinking. And he'd be like, I just don't get it. I don't get how I have gout. I eat so well. I go, I'll fucking tell you why you have gout. Yeah, you eat a salad every night. You have 4-finger pours of scotch a night, man. And you've been doing it for, I don't know, long as I can remember. So probably 50 years. Maybe that's it. No, can't be it.
Have you ever had gout?
No.
So, 2 years ago, I go to a golf tournament, and a golf tournament, sometimes you have the variety of beverages, little fireball, little beer here, this beer, that type of beer, this type of beer. We go to dinner. There's some shrimp, there's some salmon, there's some steak. So I'm hitting all the gout triggers. I like walk to the car. I'm like, God, I tweaked my ankle. I don't remember like doing anything. The next day, it's like hurting more. And all of a sudden I feel like the sheets are like rubbing up against it. I'm like, what is wrong? Next day, I take a step out of the bed and I fall. And Carrie's like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm like so much pain, but it took my breath away. But then I'm laughing. I'm like, what did I feel like I'm going to get amputated. Like I'm done. I go to my daughter's basketball tournament. I'm on crutches. People are making fun of me. Like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I go to the freaking ER. They run these tests. It's like, I didn't have full gout. It's called pseudo gout, but I literally thought, and I started laughing. I'm like, I do not have gout. Same answer as your dad. Like, there's no way I have gout. And so now I have these stuff called uric acid pills that I take whenever I know I'm going to have a few soda pops. And then I have dark tart cherry juice, which also can get the uric acid down. So I've met more people that now have had gout that are like gout. And I think by me just being a proud gout guy.
You're a gout believer.
I've only had it once. I would not wish on my worst enemy.
And is it all alcohol that triggers it?
It can be diet. It can like heavy beer. So I could have 400 Miller Lights and be fine.
Yeah.
If I have a couple IPAs,
done.
And I've been a couple times, I've definitely tried to push the envelope a little bit. Like, the third one looks pretty tasty.
Yeah, it does.
But then I don't. But then if I feel like I just, a couple days, get her back to normal, just cleanse the system, then maybe fire up.
It's just rinse and repeat. I'm going to be good, until about Thursday. Then I'm going to let it rip on Friday and Saturday and deal. That's the thing I hate about getting older. I'm real honest with you, is like, you cannot, it takes days to recover after you like rip a long session. And that pisses me off. Yeah. Because when I was 20, no problem.
Well, I
back on the horse the next day.
Do you work out at all?
Does it look like I work out, Casey?
Yeah.
No, I walk. Jesus, no.
Hey, I don't do anything. Been just shredded underneath.
You know what I still do? Yeah, and you know what I still do? You'll love this.
Typo.
And as we record this on a Monday, I play in an old man hoops league Monday nights.
Whoa.
Every Monday. And that takes me 2 days to recover. Tuesday, I'm okay. It's Wednesday. It's the 2-day effect.
A lot of zone.
Oh, dude, you remember, I am 3-point line to 3-point line.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, you know your strengths.
Well, I'm not going, here's the thing. You know where you get hurt? In the paint.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to guard anyone hard. I'm not trying to call out, I'm not calling out screens. Just give me the ball, set a pick, and let me shoot. And I'm not rebounding. I'm just not, because you get a rebound and I'm coming down on someone. No, it's over.
The last time I played basketball was with you. You might have remembered the one and only Kelly Hansen.
Oh, sure.
His ankle did something I've never seen a leg do, and he's like, "Put it back in." I'm like, "The shit? No, I'm not touching that thing. I should amputate it. It looks so gross." Have not. So now I play horse, and that's it.
And that's it.
Shooting costs. I don't zero. My fitness goals are don't get fat, don't get hurt. I want to go play golf.
You know what though? It's so addicting though. And I can't stop.
Well,
and it's just
good on
I don't
you,
know. It's so much fun. And it's just like that, because you work out or whatever you do, like there's very few things that you can do as you get older, right? That ever, and you know this more than I do because you played at a high level, a collegiate level, but like there's very few things that you can do that just gets that like competitive juices out. Like we were playing last week, and it's a competitive league, but it's it's also just fun. But last week it got like fucking serious. Like, I mean, people were like calling people out, and I mean, it was physical, but there was something real fun about it. And it takes you back to when you were younger, and, when there was just so much more, juice and competitiveness that was flying out of you, and that, it's still in there. So, if I miss a week, I get mad because I just like
That's the
playing.
best. I mean, I think those are lessons you teach your kids, that they see dad's committed. He found a passion. He's working hard, and
Well, I'm not really working hard.
well, you're
I
work. I
just,
mean, but you're team sport, which is still kind of
yeah,
probably fun for them. And
yeah.
um, speaking of sense of humor, so where do you think, you said I want to go back to your dad? Where do you think he got his storytelling skills?
So I never met his dad, and so I never met my grandfather. So, his mom was, so my grandmother, who I met a little bit, she had a, she was a storyteller. I just think he was in sales. Like, he was in the military, went to college, and then it was right into sales. So I just think that, you look at, he was in that era of like Mad Men. Like, that was it. It was the scotch, the cigarettes, it was Rat Pack. And so I think that he just got it from I think that environment when we were real little, like before I was born, and then until 2 or 3, we lived out in Federal Way on Twin Lakes Golf and Country Club.
Okay.
And so I think there's that element to it. So there was that whole environment of, just everything that surrounds that type of atmosphere of just joking and storytelling and hanging around. But I think it's just his profession that he was in. When you're in sales, you got to have the gift for gab. And if you don't, I mean, it's not so much what the product that you have, it's they're buying you. And
Yeah.
so, and he was just really, really good at that, and
Love
could
it.
just talk your ear off forever.
I spent 20 years before 20 and change before going out and doing my own thing. And I want to get into that, but I want to still dive into some of your dad stuff, where I think like, that even you talked about that competitiveness, like the business world gave me that high
Yeah,
of
sure.
competing and teamwork. And I think, yeah, being in sales for you, storytelling is really how you tell customer success stories, and you have to learn to really slow play it and articulate a message. And um, but at the same point too, they buy you. But the other thing too, to check the ego as a dad, is I've talked to a lot of people about this, is the world moves on. When I left corporate, they didn't go out of business.
You're right.
Believe it or not, they're still doing fine.
They are. They're still plugging along. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
So I like
Yeah,
telling my kids those stories.
yeah.
Okay, so storytelling, being nice, going out of your way to just do the right thing to help people. Like, as you think about values, you and your wife both um, took from both your parents. Like, tell me, what are like the top 2 or 3 things that are most important to the Puckett kids, that like they're like, these are things that maybe a dad listening at home has had fun listening to our banter, but they can take some actionable advice away from just like
Yeah.
things they might not be teaching their kids.
Yeah. Well, I live and die by the ethos of ice cream every night. I think it's good for
Solid.
the soul. We have like 2 sayings, and they're cheesy, but whatever. And one is just, you do you. I mean, I've said that forever. And just, that means a lot I think it's pretty frankly obvious what it means, but you do you just means, don't care what anybody else says or does, or what your friends are doing. What do you want to do? Like, how do you want to act? Who do you want to associate yourself with? What do you think of something? If it's against the grain, if it's different than what everybody else thinks, then that's fine. As long as you're convicted in that, then have that opinion, or choose to do that. Choose to hang out with that person. Don't get influenced by other people. So you do you is just be yourself. And then another one. I mean, we've kind of used it for sports. It was a long time ago, but I also think it's just I think it's a good message for life, because I think there's just a lot of things to it. But we always just say, we used it early on in baseball. Was eyes up, let it rip. And eyes up, let it rip means just get your eyes on the ball, and when you see it, just let it rip. But it's the kind of the same thing for life. Like, you meet somebody, don't have your eyes down, make eye contact, and then when you go out and do something, whatever it is that you do, choose to do or choose to hang out with or every day, like, let that day rip, like have fun with it. Because shoot, I mean, you don't know if you get another day, right? It's sometimes that you're tired, you don't want to go do something, and I don't want to hang out with my friends. I'd be like, just go, because you don't know what tomorrow brings, right? I mean, I had a good friend in our neighborhood about a year ago that passed away, and young, 44, 2 kids, and heart attack, was in good shape. And I mean, that's
Jesus.
that's scary stuff that you got a whole life planned, and kids to grow up and a wife and all that kind of stuff. And that's, I mean, snap of a finger, that's all over. So those are kind of the two things that we talk about a lot. And I just want them just to, I don't, whatever decisions you make, just make sure that you think about them a lot, and that you stay true to those opinions or those decisions. But just make sure they're authentic to you.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's so much life advice in that they'll be faced with those challenges that you never know what's going to show up. And I think, unfortunately, I have the thing on my resume that said that I think I've had 5 friends lose wives before the age of 40.
Oof.
Just brutal.
God.
It's like the worst feeling ever of like fear. And my wife had some health challenges during the whole COVID shit show, and we actually did an episode on it. I met a fantastic dad, and so like I always thought, like, my mind, you let your mind go some of these places. You're like, God, was God or the universe prepping me for what I went through with my buddies and how I was there to help them? Now I got to go through it. Like, that was like my biggest fear. But knock on wood, we're healthy and doing well. But I don't know. Carrie actually has some. I've said this on multiple episodes before. It's like, she says we have 18 seasons to get them ready. It's like 18 years of minor leagues, and it's like you got to get them ready. And so it's like you get summers, but and our generation, to your point, I'd be talking about your dad. Like, my dad wasn't a super, like, he was the same thing. Went to every sporting event, but I don't remember a lot of I love yous but we say it multiple times a day.
I think it's just I think you evolve a little bit. I mean, maybe people that, 30 years ago, they probably still did that, or 40 years ago. But I think that you just learn from your parents and how you probably wanted them to, act to you. And if they didn't act that certain way, then you just, well, I'm going to flip that. I'm going to be a little bit more, you know, lovey-dovey, I guess, so to speak, and show a little bit more emotion. There's just nothing wrong with showing emotion. I always just find it's just funny to me that some people think that showing emotion is some type of a sign of weakness. And I've never understood that. Like, why?
No.
It's no sign of weakness. It's just, it just shows that you're vulnerable and you're human. I think there's strength actually in showing that more than anything. So, I mean, I always go back to that Valvano speech where he's just like, you laugh, cry. I can't remember what the third thing was, but you laugh or cry every day. And it's right. I mean, that's kind of an awesome day when you think about it, because it's kind of cool to kind of go up and down with those types of emotions.
My kids have seen me cry probably more than I've ever seen my dad cry. And like, if you get a good AT&T commercial or if a Punky Brewster comes on, I'm going to, but like we had this great dog, Jenny. We called her the Jenny of all time. And she passed away in August. Jenny died in August. And we were up on stairs and we had this new couch. We were like breaking it in, watching a TV show, a movie. And I had Jen next to me, and all of a sudden I felt this sad part come on. I was like, oh shit, here we go. Felt it, but I kind of looked to my right, looked to my left. I didn't see it like happening. So I grabbed her tail, just wiped a couple off, like, hey, good doggy, Frickin' got busted. Dad, right, look, he's crying again.
How old was your dog?
Jenny was 13.
Oh.
She's a beauty, best. Now we have a young one, Harley. She's a 9-month-old golden retriever Irish setter. Probably gonna be the first Hell's Angel from a dog.
Most likely. What was that? What was the oldest one? What kind of dog?
Same thing, golden retriever, Irish setter, 50-50. Best breed I've ever had.
Okay. Yeah, I got a 13-year-old or 12-year-old black lab right now.
Oh boy.
Who's like my best friend. Like, I choose the dog over the whole group. Like, the whole group can go away, but that dog's got to stay. And like, she's okay now, but I mean, like, yeah. Because my daughter will be like, what happens when she goes? I'm like, you don't talk about that right now.
Yeah,
because when it happens, like, I got an old like Westphalia Volkswagen van. Dad's driving in the van. It's gonna be gone for a little while.
Yeah, he'll be down by a river.
It's gonna be down by a river for a while. But you're right. We got a younger one about a year and a half ago, a chocolate lab. to kind of put a little pep in her step.
Yep.
No pep in the step. She's so annoyed that she's here. So fucking pissed off. Why did you bring another dog in here? I'm like, oh my God, we ruined it. They've gotten a little bit better now, but man, yeah,
we went through exact same thing. You just
hard.
went through. Now they're like, they're buddies, their best friend. She totally takes it. So
that's good.
Hopefully your Poochie will
yeah,
evolve.
hopefully.
Okay. As you evolve, so I think one lesson that I love to talk about that spoke to me. So when I saw your journey, you know, you go out, you made the decision to go out on your own. That spoke to me. I went out. I did not plan to be a sales and leadership coach. I did not plan to be. I knew I wrote a book. I knew I did that. I knew I started this podcast just for fun. And now they're all like just intertwined, and it's like so fun. So I know what it takes to hustle and get it set up. So maybe talk about the journey that's been, and you know, to a mom or dad out there that's thinking, should I do it? Obviously they got to make their own decisions, but like maybe I'd love for like them to hear about like lessons learned and your journey a bit on the way.
Well, yeah, I mean, I leaned a lot on the "you do you" kind of mantra, and I remember there was, you know, the one night when I decided, you know, to leave radio, there was, and I was kind of going back and forth, and I just reminded what put me over the edge was I was talking to my kids actually about it because they hadn't known anything that was going on and the decision that I was weighing, and I just said. And I finally told them, and they were like, "Oh, okay, well, you do you." That's literally what my daughter said. I said, "No, that's great." And then my son was like, "Oh man, that sucks because now we can't go to the radio station because at the radio station we had this pop machine that every pop was 25 cents. It was like the greatest deal in the world." He goes, "Does that mean we can't go back there and get the 25-cent pop anymore?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, that sucks." But yeah, I really just kind of looked in the mirror and said, if I don't, I'm telling them to do them and make their own decisions and kind of don't be afraid of the, you know, take a risk. Don't be afraid of what happens after. If you know, the worst thing you can do is not take a risk and then look back, you know, 15 years, 20 years down the road and go, I wish I would have done that. You know, regret. I mean, we all have regrets. It's a side note. I hate when people say, oh, I don't have any regrets in life. Really? Everybody has something. There is something that you regret. And it's okay to admit that there's a regret. Right. You're not some flawed person if you go, yeah, I've got some regrets in life. So when I hear people say, well, I've lived my life with no regrets, BS. Right. It's just such a lie. But yeah, so I just said that, you know, this was important to me to move on, and I did it, and scary and probably the same thing that you went through. But I was, you know, supremely confident in myself and just kind of what I had envisioned what it was going to be. I mean, it was something that I think, you know, a lot of us that maybe are in this business, you kind of have in the back of your mind. But, you know, I just think the way the circumstances went, I mean, I didn't want to leave, but then kind of when it was, you know, put forth, kind of the decision I had to make, and it was made easier by decisions they made, that I just said, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to go and I'm going to rip it off and I'm going to do it. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to give myself 2 years. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But I don't want to sit back and go, hey, I didn't try. But I was always pretty confident that it would work. And it's been great. I mean, it's been a lot of work, and you've taken on a lot more responsibilities than I ever had, you know, before. And just, you know, people helping you out and things that I didn't have to worry about before that I've got to worry about now. But yeah, there's an excitement in that, and you know, because it's all on you. So there's a lot of pressure, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that it's all on you.
So your kids understand what you're doing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think the 14-year-old does. I think the 10-year-old just kind of still thinks I talk about sports, but doesn't know like kind of where it goes. Yeah. My daughter, teenager, you know, she has a phone. My 10-year-old doesn't have a phone, so she sees it. So she can like follow along on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. So she sees it all. And yeah, my son's on YouTube on TV, so he gets a kick out of like if he can pull me up and look at it and sees it. And then his kid, you know, he's got buddies who like will listen to it, which I don't know why they would listen to it. I don't think it's probably age appropriate for a 10-year-old, and you know, parents around that, you know, he always hears from. But yeah, I mean, I think they get it to a degree, like what I do, and I think they get a kick out of it.
I love that you said that, because one, I think when I went down the entrepreneurial path, and I walked away from a lot, Puck. But I was ready. I was like, there was a voice in my head that just said, and I had a couple clients that said, go do that. I was like, I didn't know what this was, but like, I have no regrets in that with that decision. I'm sure I have regrets in life, some things I've made, mistakes I've made, but like, what the lesson I've continued to learn about this journey is, like I've said this to many dads before, people either are mentored in business or life, but like whether we think how important we think we are, our kids could give two shits.
Yeah.
Whether you're whether you're John Forsland, who I've had the blessing to talk to, or Levine or Dick Vane or Ian, or it don't matter. Like, yeah, we think we have these fun, cool jobs, or like I was an executive and hey, Dad, can you get me to rallies on time? Hey, can we go play golf together?
Mm-hmm.
They care about that.
Yeah.
And I think like I think being a dad grounds me. Often I try to stay as humble as I can. Great mentors in life, and Marty Osborne, Glenn Dacus, those names ring a bell.
Mm-hmm.
Vulnerability drives me. Curiosity drives me. Those are like foundations that we teach our kids all the time about, because I think those are like just superpowers that do not get talked about enough. If anything, Ted Lasso retaught a lot of those lessons.
Nice.
You know,
did you make him watch it?
Oh yeah,
yeah. I can
I
see
love
that.
Ted Lasso. I mean, hence the belief sign behind me. It's also a little Rick Riz. Actually, it's from Mariners, but I use it now for like business leadership work I do. I always ask people, do you believe what you do matters?
Yeah.
Powerful question that most of us don't. So I ask my kids all that, like how you say you do. I always tell my kids, whatever you do, just believe that what you do matters today,
mm-hmm.
and believe you can make a difference in someone's life, on some environment, do something. But I love it. So how can people learn more about Puck Sports? Where's the best way I can make sure I send people so they know more about what you're doing?
Just go to pucksports.com. It's kind of all up there. It's, kind of one-stop shop. It will list like all the, different platforms you can be on, Apple and Spotify, which is my new, it's funny because when I was in radio, I'd hate all the ads that would come on. We'd have commercials. All right. Listen to, Blow Joe's podcast and, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. And we'd always make fun of it. And now I do that. And now I go, hey, listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. And then every time I say it, I'm like, you are a douchebag. I say that internally to myself every single time, but wherever you can find your podcast. And then, yeah, I mean, that's probably the one, place to find, that is the number one place to find it all. But, of course you can on your phone and YouTube and all that kind of stuff, but it's fun. It's
how often are you pumping out content?
Every day. Every day. Yeah, we do something that drops at 10 a.m. Because I needed to. Most of the time when you start these, it's like it's once a week, it's twice a week, it's a couple times every 2 weeks. But I love the one thing I love about radio, and why like my show is always a little bit different, I think, than everybody else's was. I mean, it's sports radio is the vehicle, but like that's just the vehicle. It wasn't what we were driving all the time. I mean, a lot of it was just my life, our lives, and we were open book. All I've ever wanted to do was just make, people laugh and entertain them. So sports just happened to be, because I liked sports. That was it. I mean, I could have done morning radio if I was a music fan, but I just wasn't a huge music fan. So I needed the juice of doing something every day, because I've always likened radio to, or this platform is to, like a Broadway show that you need every different night. There's a new audience. So you got to come out and perform. And I like that action of it. So we do something every day. Drops at 10 a.m. I usually do it about 9:30 or about 9 o'clock. Edit it up. It's about a half an hour, 35, 40 minutes. It's just whatever happened the night before, previewing ahead, today, in sports. And then usually have one or two guests a day that are like regular guests that came over from the old radio days. And basically just kind of taken the radio show and gone digitally with it. So yeah, we're doing something every single day, usually about 2 to 3 things a day. And it's a lot of fun.
So cool. Well, I'm proud of you, dude. It's been fun to watch the journey, and we'll make sure this is all linked in the show notes so people can follow along, and hopefully we get you some new listeners and get people. The same Puckett you're seeing here, everybody. You're going to get the same Puckett. He is as raw and genuine as they get, and taking me right back to the day. So I want to thank everybody for letting me go back in memory lane. Okay, last couple of questions. If we were to summarize the part of the shit show that we talked about, but then some of the real serious stuff too, that moms or dads or anybody listening can take from our conversation and apply to their everyday life to kind of be that ultimate or quarterback leader of their home. Describe a couple things that come to mind based on what we talked about today.
I would just be as present as you can always be with your kids. And I would just be always listen to them. They're smarter than you think sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting better, which each generation's getting better and better, but just be there for them, and not everything has got to be a lesson. All right. Baseball dad. Okay. Not everything's got to be a lesson after the game. How about let's go grab some ice cream and just talk about anything other than the game that just happened, because the last thing those kids want to hear is any parents are, lecturing them about what happened in the third or fourth inning. But I would just be there as much as you possibly can be, and just tell them you love them. You said it earlier that you've told your kids more, that you've loved them more than in now. And, since they've been born at a relatively young age than your entire life of your dad. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just tell them. I don't think you can tell your kids enough how much you love them. I'm like every single day, because you just don't know when that day's over. So, hug them, squeeze them, just be there. Always be. I never, as much as you can. I try to do this all the time because my parents were there all the time.
Yep.
As many activities you can go to. Don't complain about the driving. I do it. Like I drive to Bellevue 5 days a week, but I tell my wife this all the time. I say in 4 years, it's over. We'll never do it. And I said, I guarantee you when it's over, for some weird reason, you are going to miss that 30, 40-minute drive over there because of the conversations you're able to have. Because it really is. I did get a conversation for about 40 minutes. You're going to miss that.
Yeah.
All these baseball tournaments or basketball tournaments you go to, oh God, we got to go here. We got to go this weekend here and that weekend there. But when it's over, you're going to look back and how much fun it was and you're going to miss it. So I would just cherish all that.
Gold, dude. Love it. Last thing, I'm going to give one plug. Have you ever heard of the guy named Bruce Brown?
Oh,
so Bruce Brown is one of the frickin' goats, dude. He is a very famous speaker, coach, high school coach. Then he got into business. I met him through when I used to coach baseball when he was your kid's age, and I read this article that he wrote called "The Car Ride Home," which is about essentially doing you're doing it the right way. The car ride home talks about you get your kid in the car and you're saying, hey, frickin' Owen, what happened to that play at 30, dipshit? How did you make that error? Right. And the last thing you want, if you have a rough day on Puck Sports, you don't want to get judged. You want to be like, hey, dad, try your best. It's like, and it's not banging them soft. It's about what this article talked about is if your kid cares, if they care, they will come to you.
Yeah.
And what they want to hear is, and he interviewed like high school sports, college sports, pro athletes. And they said the number one best memory was when their grandparents would say, I just love watching you play.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and sure as shit, I tried it after I read this. And I remember one time Ryder made an error that like you normally would never make. But I'm like, dude, but I was like, man, I love watching you compete today. It was fine. I know it wasn't the outcome we wanted. We lost, but hey, man, great way to compete. He's like, what are you talking about, Dad? Freaking made a play like Digger Jim Presley at third base. Like what?
Hey, Presley was okay.
I'm joking.
Not bad. Presley gets a bad rep. No, it's great. That's a great lesson. I watch a video all the time. You probably seen it, Padraig Harrington. You ever seen the video, Padraig Harrington? He was showing his kid how to play golf.
No,
it's awesome.
Oh, I got to find that.
It's so good. Because the lesson was about kids playing golf and he's walking around and he would say that he would never force it on him. And the second that his kid would say, I'm kind of done, he'd be like, all right, let's go. Like, we're not going to push it. And and I do this. I took this from him. And after every round, it was always, you want to get some ice cream. Because, and his point was, what they're going to remember is the ice cream and just bullshitting with dad. That's what they're going to remember. So I was like, that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I love that, dude.
You got to remind yourself of it a lot, though, for sure.
It's hard. It is so hard. It's hard. And for us, some parents, we are not judging because we are not guilty. We are guilty of this stuff too, but at least we're giving some tools on how to best handle this. Okay. Last thing, I go into what's called lightning round. Zero preparation. My job is to ask you questions as quickly as I can. Your job is to answer them as quickly as you can. And I hope to get a good giggle out of you.
Okay.
True or false, you once beat B-Lip in a race.
I think true.
Okay.
It has to be true.
B, wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. True or false, you were in the Meeker Junior High Hall of Fame for limited participation, all-time stats.
Oh, true. For sure.
Yep, guaranteed.
No one shot more threes.
Nope, 100%. If I was to go into your phone right now, what would be the one song that Puck Sports listeners would be surprised you listen to?
It's something from Taylor Swift, probably.
Okay, Swiftie. There we go.
Yeah, something from Swift.
Favorite 80s comedy movie?
Oh, Vacation.
50 yards. If you and Kaisa, not Kaisa with an S, would go on a trip right now, no kids, where are you going?
Spain.
Okay. If I was to come to your house for dinner tonight, what would we have?
Pork chops.
God, that sounds outstanding.
And the kids hate it, but we don't care, but we love it.
Well, me and my daughter will come over because we love pork chops. Yeah. If there was to be a book written about your life, tell me the title.
Regrets.
There you go. Okay. Now, believe it or not, Puck, Regrets is killing it. It's in every airport. Wherever you go, I can't. It's in the King County Library System. It is blowing up. And now Hulu, Netflix, Apple TV, they're all fighting for this. And you are now the casting director. I need to know who's going to star Jason Puckett in this critically a hit
easily movie. And it makes perfect sense. Denzel Washington.
100%.
I say it all the time. He's my favorite actor. And I talk about it all the time. Like, who's Denzel? That doesn't make any sense, though. It makes sense to me. That's how I envision myself.
Denzel it is. Okay. And then last question. Tell me 2 words that describe your wife.
Oh, ball buster.
That has never been said. That's fantastic. Not terms of endearment, everybody, but truth. And I'm sure there's some love in there.
She's a ball bust. She's just I mean that like in a good way, though. She's a ball bust. Like she gives the shit back to you. She does not take it. And I love it about her. That's why I mean, she's like a guy's gal. She just is in the locker room BSing with you and just gives shit back to everyone. And I fell in love with her immediately because of that.
Oh, that sounds good. Oh. Okay. You made it through it. We both giggled. We both laughed. It's been so much fun seeing you. I'm so proud of you. Wish you nothing but the best, everybody. And to what Puck always says, if you're a first-time listener and you don't know what the Quarterback DadCast is, there's 5 seasons of this. We've episoded some fantastic people, Rick Riz, Forsland, Coach Lorenzo Romar. We got many, many people. And the normal dad who just stays at home, or the dad who's a business executive, or the dad who works at a healthcare facility. In the end, that's what we all are doing. We all have the same job. We're working hard to create leaders in life. We're working hard to become, create humans who are doing great things. And hopefully we'll do it a lot better than we ever could, dads at home. So Puck, thanks again, brother. It's been a great having you on. I really appreciate you, and best luck, man.
Thank you, Casey. Anytime.